Hello, Player 3 here, winding the clock back to 1994 and getting struck by a very large, ultra high-tech, indestructible super space cyber suit. That's right, it's Earthworm Jim. And what better place to start than with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Bet you didn't think that's where I was going. Or maybe you did. But Playmates Toys was contracted to make toys for different IPs, and one of them was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And they began to think, why don't we do this? This franchise is so successful. Then on the other hand, they saw Sonic the Hedgehog and thought, why don't we do this? This franchise is so successful. So they did. But unlike Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where they started off as a toy line and cartoon, eventually making video games for it, they wanted to start off as a video game, then work their way to a cartoon and toys, forming Playmates Interactive Entertainment. And with the help of Doug TenNapel, Dave Perry, and Shiny Entertainment, and quite a lot of satire and humor, Earthworm Jim was born. Having come off the back of making Cool Spot for 7-Up and Aladdin for Disney, Shiny Entertainment was now breathing fresh air. No more tight restraints. Playmates Interactive Entertainment was new to the business, and pretty much let Shiny Entertainment take the reins and do what they do best. Doug TenNapel voiced Earthworm Jim. It was his design too, then allowing the artistry of Dave Perry and his crew to bring it all to life for the Sega Genesis and SNES simultaneously. The Genesis being the original release, the version I played, though there are slight differences between the two and the ports to come. One being an additional level for the Genesis version, since the file type which played on the Genesis could be compressed further, allowing access for one more level, and the fact that Sega wanted an extra level just for them. Apparently, the level, Intestinal Distress, was designed and coded all in one night, which is rather impressive once you see it, completing all that the day they were supposed to send the game off to be printed onto the cartridges. Very impressive indeed. Okay, the game is made, ready to release Earthworm Jim to the world. But who is Earthworm Jim? Well, it's a day like any other. A crow is chasing a worm named Jim. Today, the worm escapes to safety and the crow eats dirt. Meanwhile, in outer space, Psy-Crow chases a renegade ship. That ship has a very large, ultra high-tech, indestructible super space cyber suit on board. After a scuffle, Psy-Crow blows the ship to smithereens, and the suit falls to Earth, landing directly on our friend Jim. By sheer luck, Jim fits perfectly in the neck of the suit. He begins to evolve and control the suit, quickly learns all the capabilities of the suit. Then Psy-Crow appears, trying to capture Jim and steal the suit so he can deliver it to the evil queen, pulsating, bloated, festering, sweaty, pus-filled, malformed Slugfurbutt, who has her much, much more beautiful twin sister, Princess What's-Her-Name, imprisoned. Jim overhears this and rushes to go save the princess before Psy-Crow can catch him and the suit. Because, every respectable game has to have a beautiful princess that does nothing but wait to get saved by the hero. The controls for Jim are simple: A to fire, B to whip, and C to jump, all directional, along with movement with the D-pad. Then you have the difficulty settings: practice, normal, and difficult. Practice, of course, if you can't even watch fishing shows, Salt makes you cringe, you don't even own any Earthworm Jim action figure, and you still haven't figured out the hamster gags. Normal, if you order the action figures, you juggle fishing lures, you call him EWJ, even though it's more syllables than Earthworm Jim. You've been caught in long underwear tying your hair to a curtain rod to see if you can swing from your head, just like EWJ. And you begin to make hamster jokes yourself. Or difficult, for those who go swimming in trout-infested waters. You sunbathe at the beach on the hottest day of the year and you swim in the Dead Sea. You've designed the next Earthworm Jim game and submitted your idea to Shiny Entertainment. You're a stud. You're tough. You're a lumbricus terrestris. So anyways, I chose normal. And as we were speaking about the controls and settings there, you can see the cycle of vital animations, of which there are many. And on the top left of your screen, you'll see the worm's left, Jim's suit energy, and on the bottom, his plasma shots. Throughout each level, you'll find more plasma power. You can even find some mega plasma, some suit power, and extra life, though it is often really difficult to get to the areas with extra lives. no biggie. I'll just cheat.
Cheater.
Yep, that's right. Albeit the first level, I cheated a lot. But, you know, they coded it into the game. There's even a voice line for Jim when you put in a cheat code.
Cheater. Wee doggy.
So, it's part of the game, so I don't feel bad. Of the cheats I found though, I couldn't get them all to work, but that's okay because I only used 2 throughout the playthrough. A one-time use energy refill, and I was constantly adding more lives because I didn't want to have a game over and restart the whole thing over and over. The game is hard, but fun. Not as hard as Battletoads or Echo, but it wasn't easy. Turns out, those other cheats I couldn't get to work, that's because they were only for the Special Edition, which came out for the Sega CD and Windows 95 a year after the original release. It was basically a patch, an updated version of the game. Now, I played the original, but I saw there was a Groucho Marx cheat and I just had to know what that was. Turns out, in the Special Edition, there were cosmetics for Jim. Man, if I had known that, I probably would have played that instead. Look at these. Black afro, red afro, antenna, big glasses. There's Groucho Marx. Nice. And Donkey Kong? Dude. God bless you, Shiny Entertainment. Y'all are awesome. Anyways, back to my boring, non-Donkey Kong face version. You start off in New Junk City, Jim's hometown, but not to get confused with New York City. I mean, the likeness is uncanny. Here you fight your way through staples of any junkyard, crows, junkyard dogs, giant mutant garbage cans, the whole shebang. Oh yes, make sure you launch the cow. Now, I thought Bugle Boy here was the boss of the first level. He turns out to just be a mini-boss, but I was stuck on him for a lot longer than I really should have, but I thought with this being the first level that this boss would be easy and I could just shoot him, and that he just had a bigger health bar. Nope, there was actually tactics and a certain stage of his fighting that you could actually damage him. So I ended up looking up how to beat him. I'm happy to say though that I didn't use the guides that much, just for a few of those bosses that really stumped me. But after beating Bugle Boy, which is very cool, you have a checkpoint. Then you fight the actual first level boss, Chuck. You met his dog Fifi earlier. He's quite a nasty dude, belching up raw fish. He was a lot easier to fight than Bugle Boy in my opinion, that is. I didn't need to use a guide because it was fairly easy to figure out what hurt him. Okay, first level of however many done. I didn't count. Moving on to the first of many Andes asteroids? Psychro, still hot on Jim's heels, chases him through an asteroid belt to get to a wormhole. A worm going through a wormhole. I mean, how else are you going to get to the next planet, or level, or whatever the next spot is? Just don't get hit by the asteroids. You don't want Psychro to get into the wormhole before you. I love these levels. There's just one between each main one. You avoid the astros, bump Psychro to knock him back if he gets too close, and use shields to blast through asteroids that are tough to avoid, and leave Psychro in the dust by using the atomic accelerators.
Whoa, Nelly!
Whoa, Nelly, indeed. Okay, now that I'm past the first level, a spoiler warning is in order, so skip to this time here to avoid them. You can also use the timestamp in the description. What the heck? That's the name of level 2, and that's what you'll say once you pop in there. Onto Planet Heck. Gotta keep it kid-friendly. It sure is a wacky place. Born with no heart, Evil the Cat is the ruler of Heck. He lives to torture others and won't let Jim pass through his domain that easily. You can hear those tortured souls throughout the level, and even get tortured yourself with the music that cuts in and out. Cheesy elevator music, that is. How dreadful. You'll also find lawyers, of course. You get hurt by fire, naturally, and snowmen. Okay. The snowman's movements remind me a lot of Cuphead, actually. Man, it has been a long time since I played that game. Anyway, and then Evil the Cat himself, with his 9 lives. But he has 2 phases. And that first stage, though it should have been easy, I just didn't get it, so I looked it up. But his 9 lives parts, that wasn't too bad. Now, on to... Here and down the tubes, you pass through the tubes underwater. So far, each level has been ramping up in difficulty. I mean, these cats are f***ing, not as f***ing as these subs, though. Fuck! But the hamsters are great. But come on, I was right there. Alright, the next boss, Bob. Bruh, Bob, no. I guess he's not gonna fulfill his goal of taking Jim's suit to rule the universe. He's dead as fuck. It's not a problem. Actually was a big problem. Cool to have a level completely different to the rest, but man, this was tough. Took me a few tries, but this is all it is. 3 rounds of breaking Major Mucus's snot rope before he broke Jim's bungee cord. As an added bonus, you have to look out for the Mucus Flembrain. Moving on. Well, at least we know this is the 5th level. On the Genesis, that is. On the other ports, it may have been the 6th level, or 7th, or 8th even. But it's still level 5. Gotta love it. Something I found on this level, well, something I could have found, but I didn't until I beat the whole game and then went back and found there was a debug menu for cheats and warping to certain levels, and you can see who made this mess. That there was a secret level you could access in level 5, a level completely in the dark, with quite a large boss. You know, to spark your fears of the dark you may have had as a kid, or now. You can use your imagination, but don't try to beat him. You can't, but you can escape. Back on the main level, you have to make your way through Professor Monkey for a Head's lab. He was the one who made Jim's suit, you know. If he could only make another one, but that darn monkey part of his head ate the blueprints. What you gonna do? He's got quite a few hostile science projects running around his lab. What's this Undertale Undyne bullshit? Nah, it's fun. As long as I had plenty of plasma to do it with. Now, these parts here gotta be some of my favorites. Jim gets knocked out of his suit and you have to make your way past obstacles to end up where his suit is on this conveyor belt below. But the professor was quite annoying though. He shows up during the level, not at the end. So it wasn't just him I had to deal with. It was him plus his experiments all at once. That being said, the manual listing the main characters of Jim's story, but those characters not always being the main boss or final boss of those levels, that was pretty neat. Here in level 5 with the professor showing up throughout the whole level multiple times, and the actual final boss of the level being actually this pain in the butt Robo Chicken instead. He took me a few tries, and I tell ya, he'll get you saying. Well, so with this level, for Pete's sake indeed, an auto-scroller, you have to guide this cute little puppy Pete back to his house. Another change of pace to the normal levels. So, who are the enemies in this level? Oh, it's Pete! Oh, don't piss him off. You best get him home safe, but it sure ain't a walk in the dog park. You got meteor showers, you got aliens, you got unipusses. You know, octopus but with one arm. And Pete just keeps a hop, skipping, and a jumping away. Thanks for the help, bud. Oh, there goes the cow again. Man, that fridge launched him far. Hey, Pete, you're finally home. Hey, don't wave and give me that shit-eating grin, you bastard. You know what you turned into and did to me. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, they made this level in one day. It's impressive, right? It's also pretty gross. There's some tough enemies, but overall, with it only taking a day to make, at least I'm sure this had something to do with it, it's not that long of a level. And not an especially hard boss either. Okay, one more Andy's Asteroids to go, and one more level. We're in the home stretch. So get the lube, cause it's... What a fitting name for the home of the evil queen, pulsating, bloated, festering, sweaty, pus-filled, malformed slug for a butt. Okay, so this first part of the level, I know that sometimes when Jim jumped, he spun his head around like a helicopter. I thought it was like a double jump or something I did on accident before, and never really needed it till now, but man, I wish I knew that before I tried this part of the level. I spent so long on here before I found out that you had to spam the jump button to let the helicopter consistently spin and you could fall slowly. Now that I'm past those initial spikes, well, now the rest of this level is still pretty hard. I mean, it's Buttville. Okay, I do love this mechanic of swinging his head. but there are definitely a few times, like having multiple in a row where I really had to jump and reach for the next one, or this tower with hooks that gave me some trouble. But it was still cool. But anyways, Buttville, where you can find bees, and whatever those are, and the absolute worst enemy in the game, the insectoid mandibles that just kill you instantly. Those. Then you have the mini-boss of Buttville, J. Alfred Maggot, which, oh god, that's not her butt, is it? Oh, why does it have a name? Okay, let's finish this. Let's go around to her face. Oh, god, her butt looks less gross than her face. It was actually more difficult to fight, too. I mean, you can stand in place and shoot her till you run out of bullets and always die, or you can whip her once and she explodes. And that's it. That's Earthworm Jim. That's right. I am the best. And now I've got the girl. Wow. Wow. Woo! Princess What's-Her-Name really is more beautiful than her evil twin. Nice. No! Look how! Fuck! Nice, Jim. Stay classy. Okay, wow. What a game. That was really fun, but before I get ahead of myself, I have a few things to bring up. First thing I want to do is give a bit of a tier list to all the character bosses in the game. Those listed in the manual, of course, not the mini-bosses. Though, I will be adding Bugle Boy to the list, and what I found to be the hardest enemy, the insectoid mandibles. From easiest to hardest, starting with Psychro. I mean, you just had to race him, and I never lost. I had to go back and replay the level to lose and just see what I missed. Too easy. But those were really fun levels, or transitions between levels. Whatever. Oh, I lied actually. Bob was easier. I didn't lose to him either, but it took a lot less to beat him than racing Psychro. Okay, but third, or rather since there are 11 on my list, 9th hardest for me, Professor Monkey for a Head. Since he was the only main character boss that actually wasn't the final boss of his level. You just fought him throughout the level, so not too hard. He was annoying though. Then the Queen, rather easy once you know what to do. Doc, I lost to him a couple times, but overall, not that hard. Chuck, a bit harder, but more enjoyable for sure. Evil the Cat, same as Chuck, fun, but a bit harder. Pete, he was hard just because there was a whole level he took part of, and it took a few attempts. The insects for being just normal enemies, and being harder than someone with a whole level, and the final boss, come on. And then the top 2 hardest for me, Major Mucus, then Bugle Boy. Yes, the first boss, mini boss in the game, was the hardest boss for me. Going back a second, there was a good spread of variety. You had super easy fights, and you had a race, you had one with multiple stages, auto-scrollers, one that wasn't even the final boss. Every fight was unique, and that definitely made the game more enjoyable. With that being said though, which one of those bosses was my favorite to fight? Now, excluding the mandibles since they didn't have a designated fight, my least to most enjoyable was Major Mucus, then Doc, Bob, Professor Monkey for a Head, Bugle Boy, the Evil Queen, Evil the Cat, Chuck. And it was actually pretty close between Pete and Psychro, but I'm gonna have to put Psychro on top. It wasn't really a fight, nor was Pete either actually, but their levels were more fun than the rest for me. So, not like this matters, but a happy medium from both of those, the Goldilocks of each. Looks like Evil the Cat, which, yeah, makes sense. Not too hard, not too easy, and still really enjoyable. So take that as you will. So, those who skipped the spoilers to avoid them, and they're back now, welcome back, if there are any of you. What else? The game overall took me about 4.5 hours to beat. Maybe a little longer than your average, but I'm not the best gamer in the world, I just play to have fun. And I did have fun. I think I covered most of what I wanted to say about what I thought of it, good and bad, but how did it do on release? Well, the franchise's catalog speaks for itself, with the special edition for the first game, 3 sequels, a remake, a re-release, and supposedly a new game coming out in the near future. Not to mention that Jim appeared in a few fighting games, countless toy lines, and of course the Earthworm Jim TV series. And yes, Earthworm Jim, the first game, did receive high praise, receiving scores around 8 out of 10 or 80 out of 100, whichever method you used, which coincidentally is close to what I rated it, 8.5 out of 10. And even better, before opening the game for the first time, I predicted that I would rate it around an 8 out of 10. Pretty close prediction. How about that? Earthworm Jim made it to many top lists of games of all time. It's definitely on the top list of mine I've played on this channel. So all in all, Playmates, you did it. You had a dream to make your own franchise and you succeeded massively. More than I can say about some other companies. So, my rating showcase, knocking the last game I played, Space Crusade, down from the top 13 shown, and taking its own spot as the, well, tied with Sonic Adventure technically by numbers alone, but I liked Earthworm Jim a tad bit better than Sonic Adventure. So it's the third best game I've played on this channel. The first game I've played so far from 1994, it's a run and gun platform game, going with the parent genre of platform. It's the best platform game I've played, and the best game I've played on the Genesis. Not really anything bad to say, a top tier game all around. So if you haven't yet, go check it out for yourself. If you have any game recommendations, leave your comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you'll enjoy what I have in store. That's all for now. See you next time.